Welcome back to the Long Way Back podcast. I'm your host, Timmy Long. Today I'm joined by Tommy.
Hi, lads.
And today we're in Dublin. We're in the Crumlin Addiction Resource Centre, and John Boland has kindly agreed to be our guest today. John, how's it going?
Great fun. And thanks very much for the invite, yeah.
Listen, since we met there, since you came in the door there half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, I knew that this was going to be a great chat because you have lots of energy. And I love it, and it's a nice energy, John. And we're going to have a great conversation about your life and how you are doing today. So you're in recovery for the last 4 years.
No comment. Just to let everyone know, there's microphones and cameras. The section that's.
So just do you want to give people a brief introduction, John, how it was growing up here in Dublin for you, and maybe the family dynamics and stuff in school?
Yeah. Well, I'm 54. I'm clean and sober a few years. I'm the youngest now in 9. I'm a very, very proud Finglas man, Finglas East. Great area, great people. Great memories. A mad road I was from, between people that were in the bank and bank robbers. It was just a full spectrum of headers and great people. I've only fond memories of where I came from. I think every kid craves the attention of their parents. I got her off me ma, but I never got her off me dad, And I always wanted him to, watch a football match that I was playing. And maybe, I don't know, he had a reputation, of Jack Boland and the whole lot. And then I developed a reputation, unfortunately, I think, and I said it to you there, I think it's the worst thing.
Was that from a young age, John?
From a young age. I started out in primary school and getting expelled in secondary school, and it becomes a label, it becomes an identity.
Did you notice at any stage around this time that maybe you probably did have issues around alcohol or drugs or anything like that?
Well, it was 30 years, like drinking drugs. The fact that I was craving that attention at me dad and didn't get it, well, I got it elsewhere by being a people pleaser. So unfortunately, the reputation went from hitting somebody with your fists over the years, then maybe having a hammer in your hand, and then all of a sudden you have a gun in your hand. So it's all from the reputation. And I've thought about this for years, about how detrimental it is for any young man in the impressionable years of being a teenager. You have fathers out there that are good scrappers and they're encouraging their sons to be like, or if they're selling drugs, they're copying the fathers. Like, it's a label and becomes an identity, and they could have it for life. And
it's like monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do.
And I don't think people really understand how meaningful that word is. It's like, if you want your child to be successful in life, and when I may say this successful, I don't mean it has to be financially or through education or through sport. It's about their well-being, successful well-being, where they're able to notice what's going on for them and put a label on it, and sometimes not even put a label on it, but being able to talk to someone. It's an emotional intelligence is what it is. And I think people who are emotionally intelligent and they talk about it tend to do well in life, no matter what area they go into in work or field or whatever. I think they do well in life because they're able to explain and describe what's going on for them. Whereas when you have somebody like us who grew up in an area where there was nobody really there to show us how to be emotionally intelligent, we had to find ways to be able to soothe ourselves outside of talking or being told of what was normal to feel, what was not normal to feel. Instead, we blocked them all down and we drank in them. I did. I know you did too, Tommy. Yeah, we drugged in them. Yeah. So it's what you said there is so valid. About fathers teaching sons.
I don't get it.
It's so.
I'm going. Do you understand what you're doing? Because when that becomes a label and an identity, do you want to try and pull the label off that top? It doesn't come off. Then you're doing things that you don't want to do, and it's actually even talking about it. But one word I think you missed there is love from the parents. So when I became a father, Dylan is 30 there, and I said to Alicia, I'm never going to behave like my dad the way he with me. So I'm all about the love. We did a great job with our 2 boys. We're extremely proud of. They have my characteristics as in manners, but none of the Yahoo. And it was zero tolerance for that. Not in 1 million years would that ever.
It's powerful.
No.
Yeah. I can tell you one thing, I would never want my son to turn out the way I did. You know, go through what I went through, you know, end up in jail and drugs and you know, all that madness. So as you were saying, you want your son to do better. You don't want them out there doing this and that. You know, that's the last thing we want for our kids.
I think I think doesn't that depend on the adult's frame of mind too, and the amount of awareness they have in relation to how their actions will have an effect on their child. Because if you have a child that's looking at a parent, right, this is just an example now, who's sitting down putting together bags of drugs on the scales inside in the kitchen, and they're looking at that from a young age, they think that's normal.
Normalised.
They grow up thinking that that's normal. Or violence within the home, where they may be arguing constantly with the mother or father, or it doesn't matter, or out in the street. That will become normal too. You know, and we all had to learn that our actions have an implication on our kids. You know, and sometimes, and I always have to mention this, right? When somebody's unconscious and they don't know how their actions will have an effect on their child, you know, I don't say it's justified, but I do know this, it's different. But when you have awareness of how your actions will have some implication on how your child's behaviour develops later on in life, then there's a problem. Then you have something to answer for. Do you know what I mean?
Good point.
Do you know? And it brings back to the father thing. And we had a conversation with Joe Redmond today. We spoke about your father. I think we all have fucking problems with our fathers based on that era, because I don't think they'd have the same emotional intelligence as we have gained throughout our lives to be able to show feelings and emotion to us. Because I know I didn't get it on my father, you know. But today, because of that, and because of me understanding my own kind of relationship with my own son and what I can and can't give him, I tell him every day I love him to death. I cuddle him and I tell him I love him. And I can be a little bit strict on him, you know, in relation to food or school, you know, and then I'll explain why I'm being a little bit strict. But I think it's very important to just also, you said the key word there, love.
Love is huge.
You love, like.
Yeah. What I never got, will I give it in abundance, you know?
You don't think our fathers were able to give it to us, John?
No, well, you know, it's my counsellor talks about it and about maybe what their lived life experience was, you know? And I don't have any good memories. Like, it's sad to say that, you know, falling out. And then he was the street angel, House Devon with the drink, and remember my sister trying to stab him, alcoholic. Maybe some of my brothers or siblings won't like to hear that. He was an alcoholic, you know, and he nearly died, and then he like continued drinking, but it didn't suit him. Didn't suit me either, the gargle. But yeah, just with the counselling there, like if my mother's name is mentioned, I have this big huge smile. But when my dad's name, it was like, but I worked on that, you know, about forgiveness, and I apologised to him, and you know, so
it kind of works both ways. It's just do you know what it's about? It's about really trying to understand each other and understand why we're so different to our parents, and because we don't act in the same way with our kids, and we're trying to understand why they acted in this way towards us.
Yeah.
And when I try to do that is I look at the circumstances around their life and the era they brought up in, and I look at the people that brought them up, and like back then, John, you come from a family of 9. Like these days, families are small enough, and you rarely hear of a big family over 5 or 6. Like back then, a small family was 5 or 6 kids. You know, like there's a family on our road below, there was 22 of them there. Yeah,
good.
Another family, 12, 18.
Yeah.
Like,
the normal.
No, my mother's family is 9 as well. And it's like, whoa, it's like, it's different today. But I think, I don't know the reason, because kids are different today and they're more emotionally intelligent. Is it because we've smaller families, and we've 2 parents and 2 kids in a family, and each parent individually is able to give that child, each child, a bit of time.
Dedication, yeah.
You know, I have 2 kids. You have?
Yeah, 2.
2. Tommy, you've Craig,
Yeah,
one,
go on.
and I
Yeah.
suppose it's about giving. Tony also has a daughter, and it's about giving that
Yeah.
one time. Like my wife, I have my daughter, I'll have my son. I'll do things with him. I'll do things with her. Do you know, and it's about giving them both equal kind of time as well. Do you agree?
Parenthood, yeah, it's, well, you know, kind of making it sound easy, you know, there's challenges as well
Yeah.
with parenthood, you know. My eldest boy is my stepson. So, and that was challenging when I split up with my wife and we got back together and the whole lot, you know, and then Sean is my biological son. So, you know, but, you know, we talk about never giving up and it's never too late and we made up and we're in a great place. And so little things like that. And as you well know, you can never give up.
Never.
Yeah.
Never, and we spoke about that. We'll go, me and you even, like, there's no real such thing as a hopeless case. Like,
No such thing. You can't have that
you
attitude.
know, like you might look at somebody that's really, really in a bad state at now, and their shape is bad. But I look across the room here, and I look at him, and I remember back to a podcast I had there with another lad 2 weeks ago, and I looked it through there and I said, Jesus Christ, they were looking at me and saying, this fucker's never going to get it either. But it was like, Jesus, and I looking at the two of them, we were having a conversation there last week in the studio, myself, Tommy and Adrian, and we were having a pure, normal conversation. The vocabulary was very understandable. I couldn't even talk properly when I stopped drinking and drugging, John. I couldn't even put a sentence together. I always felt like I was a child, a little boy, you know. Could you relate to that in any way?
I just said to Tommy there, like, I think in my recovery, I suppressed all the mayhem, which was normalised with alcohol and cocaine, you know. And then I think when I stopped drinking, and the suicide was after that, and all those emotions that were suppressed surfaced. I was like, all at once.
Yeah.
So they didn't creep, but they all just came at once, and it was like that took an awful lot of time. And I still attend the counsellor.
Yeah.
And I will be continuing as a check-in, you know.
And what age were you when you kind of knew that maybe drink or alcohol or drink or drugs were an issue in your own life, John?
Well, 6 years ago when I was away, we were split up. I went out for my mate's birthday, Ben White's birthday. I hadn't been sniffing, you know, up to it, but I had a drink and I was training hard. And I went out with a drink that night and I was crippled with depression. I'd been for years, as the older you get, it was having a more of effect on me.
Yeah.
But my circumstances with being alone, etc. I was in my son's arm in an embrace and I was really upset. He knew I was upset, but I had him in and I just said, something has to change here. Something has to change, John. And that was it. That was just... So that was like 6 years ago. I relapsed twice. And then I had an accident and opioids, etc. That was leading to the suicide thing. And 4 years ago in August, Liverpool won the league and I decided to have a few beers. I think I snorted a quarter as well as a celebrating, you know?
Yeah.
And the rest probably. And then I says, come on, John, that's it. I've done all the celebrating in Dublin and all that, and you use that as an excuse, don't you? Because I just wasn't ready. Yeah.
Well, I don't think when it comes down to, like, I would have never thrown in the towel, you know, because of the effects of drugs and alcohol. What they gave me the escapage of away from emotions and stuff and away from my thinking. And it was really based on my children, you know, and my wife. They gave me the strength to really get away from it at the start, because I wasn't doing it for myself, you know. I didn't have that awareness because I was ready to die. Like, I was in that space. You spoke about depression there, and we'll get back to that again. But from a young age, like, drugs by done things for me like that. There was never going to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist or psychotherapist to. It just gave me that escapage away from reality that I needed. And you probably can relate to this, you probably heard it before, like, I can honestly put my hand up and say, because of being an addict and drinking and drugging for a large part of my life, I believe I'm still alive today. because it blocked out all the trauma, blocked out all the shame and fear and guilt I felt. Because when I initially got into recovery, it all came to me, all the shame and trauma and fear and guilt, everything came to me. And it was so overwhelming and difficult that I probably wouldn't have survived it in my younger years.
Kept you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It kept you alive. I fully get it.
Yeah.
With addiction. Cara Bourne said it to me, a psychotherapist that I speak with. They're so brave, people in addiction, of, having an addiction to keep them alive from the traumas, etc. And it took me a minute to get it, but the fact that you're saying that,
100%. Yeah. So you spoke about depression there, John. Was that something that was there from a young age?
No. Excuse me, no. It just came from the drink. Obviously, very late growing up. Ended up in court a few years ago over something embarrassing. It was like,
Yeah.
what's going on, John? Come on. The separation didn't help. But I introduced change then, and then a couple of months later I had a really serious work injury. And I had mad nerve pain, and I was in hospital for 9 days, and I was prescribed the opioids.
Okay.
So never heard of OxyContin, Oxynorm. And I was on it, and more ligaments come off the bone. So I was on them for several months, and I didn't cry when my ma died. And then all of a sudden I noticed I'm in floods of tears in the house, and I was out of action. I was either hurling, Gaelic, boxing, gym, all action. We're doing the door, as you can see, word to the moon at the best of times.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's going on here with these tears? And then the thoughts got darker, and I challenged them several times in the hospital, in the Beacon.
Yeah.
Like what's going on here? Oh no. So no. Look at me, and there has to be something with these, And that went down, slip further, to I buried 2 friends, Liam Cooney, through suicide, that was married to my cousin Lisa, and a fella that I played football with, Pete Keeley. And when Pete's funeral, I was at Pete's funeral, and I was in the depths of depression, but I was in the depths of darkness, rather than depressed, suicidal thoughts. You're a hindrance, you're a failure. I was wearing the mask because I'm 6'4", reputation, John. But here's John. I couldn't show vulnerability, ego. So I looked at Pete's coffin going into the church. He's loads of sisters like me. I visualised it was me in the coffin. I saw all the boys outside the church having a smoke. I see fellas going back to work. I see fellas with the serious face when the coffin went by. As soon as the coffin went by, they were back chatting. And I says, no one gives a bollocks about you, John. So this was the negative narrative.
Fuck, that's some awareness.
Yeah. I says, this is the voice that was, no one gives a fuck about you. You're a failure of a husband. You're a failure of a father. Get out of here. And I says, yeah, I'm out of here. And that's where I made the plan for the train the following Thursday.
What was the?
Clonsilla, to go down on the following week to take me on live at Clonsilla train station on the Thursday morning, a week after Peter's funeral. And then the night before, I was called down to my GAA club. This is the most ironic story in the world. We lost a senior member in the club, Owen Gilhooly. An absolute superstar of a man. And, Owen wasn't a young fella. Owen took his own life. Like, what's the story there? Couldn't get my head around that. And I hadn't been down the club in a while. I wasn't in a great place, obviously. But the girl that was running the committee for the Owen Gilhooly Memorial Cup for his 1st year anniversary, they said, and I'm great on the committees of raising a few quid and get into him, come down. Right, so I'll go down. So I brought down the packet of biscuits, and we had the cup of tea. Timmy, ring him. Tommy, ring him. Get this done. We make a few quid. All for the suicide awareness services. So who sits beside me? Mad. Owen Gilhooly's daughter, Louise.
Jeez.
Right? And I'm going to kill myself 8 hours later, yeah? Hey, John, what's the story, Louise? I had the mask on, superstar, happy, give her a big hug. The whole lot. Meeting was over, said goodbye. See you later. Walked out of the room. She comes after me. John, have you got a minute? Yeah, what's up? Big smiley head me. Are you alright? Yeah. What are you fucking on about? No, she says, are you alright? He says, Louise, you're doing me head in. What are you on about? And Grant, she got me by the hand. She listened to this podcast. She held me hand. She's going to ask you one more time, are you all right? And I says, no. First time in 48 years saying that word. John, yeah, do it, yeah. Wherever it was or wherever. Yeah, to everything. And I said no. She brought me downstairs to the notice board where we were raising money since Owen passed away for D15 suicide awareness. And she says, will you make me a promise? Will you ring Sue in the morning? I hadn't told her what I was doing. Because I says, she says, no, please, will you make me a promise? Will you make me a please? And she's holding me hand. I'm not going to call it intervention. I'm going to call it divine intervention.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get that? We're here for her father's anniversary and I'm going down to the train station in the morning. So I went home. I didn't really sleep too good and I woke up and I'd one decision to make. Will I drive to Clonsilla or do I keep Louise's promise that I told her that I'd ring? And I drove straight to the Beacon Hospital without an appointment and just walked into my doctor's office. Kind of fell down on a bed and says, I'm just about to take me life within the next hour. And there was there was all pandemonium and this and that and who can we get you back to your GP and emergency appointment. And I walked into D15 suicide awareness to Anne, literally crawled in that night, and that was the beginning of my recovery. My recovery is measured in fractions.
How did you actually feel? I know it might be a silly question, but how does somebody that is on the way to take their own life feel within their head and emotionally, if you can understand?
Well, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I know we're on video here, but I'm outstretching my arms right now. I have my arms outstretched as if I'm on a cross. So at the tops of my left finger are my anchors in my life, which are my best friend, my family, my friends. And I have a wide range of friends and family that I love and they love me. But if you go 180 degrees to the top of the fingers of my right hand, well, that's where I was. Yeah. And when you're over there, those people over there don't exist.
You were disconnected completely.
Yeah. They don't exist. Some people say, oh, that was selfish. He's had to leave a wife and a partner and a brother and a sister. When you're 180 degrees gone by your anchor, they don't exist here.
Yeah, you're not even thinking of they're people.
They don't exist. No. You're in that much pain. I had to get out of this pain. And I smiled going home from Peter's funeral knowing that this was coming to an end. Like I'm smiling now. It's pain you're in. The negative narrative, spiraling out of control. The wearing the mask, the 6'4", the head dormant, the mad this, that. Who can I express a vulnerability to?
That's a tough one there, isn't it?
I'm alone. Yeah. I'm separated. It's mortgage arrears, blah, blah, blah. The medication. A few things going on. We now here.
I completely relate to it. Like last when I came home from prison last time, I was coming into an environment in the community where I was known as somebody else before, and when I came into that community, I felt completely vulnerable, and I had to, it was the same community I was brought up in, where we come from, and I felt like I still have to protect myself. You still have to show that demeanour, that angry demeanour, or that you still have to keep yourself big and good shape and
reputation.
Yeah. Because if people saw me in a vulnerable state, they would take advantage of me. I completely understand what you're saying. But what I did was, when people would walk past me, because it was probably fear, because I didn't know how I looked angry and I didn't even know I was angry, I would say hello. And I kept saying hello to people and people started saying, do you know what? He's after changing, because before I wouldn't have dared doing that, because I hated everybody in the world and myself. So it was like that ego that you develop because of the life. Head on has a big deal, because I can imagine the amount of ego stuff that comes to you, of the ability to tell someone, no, fuck off home, you're not coming in tonight. And then they look upon that. There might be a girl inside in the club that they want to meet, or the boys have gone in, And it's like, you have the ability. It's like, for that moment when they walk up to the door, you're God.
Well,
Does that make sense?
it does. I
Yeah,
got paid to judge people in hindsight. It's the worst job in the world.
Yeah. But it does
got paid to do
it gives you that real strong ego, because
I might disagree a little bit with the ego, because I hadn't got the...
Yeah.
I loved what I did.
Yeah.
I never... There was doormen that had ego with...
Yeah.
And they were told to fuck off.
And there's two types of doormen, I think, as well. You have the doorman that's going to stand there and say, Jesus Christ to me, for fuck's sake, look at the stereo. We can't leave you near.
Yeah.
Do you know? And there's the other fella that say, I've often walked up the doors in sobriety and they say, not tonight, you've had too much.
Yeah.
And then I come across doormen like that, and I just walk away now. But like, it's like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to contain, do you know. But there are different fellas like on doors who can be
The wrong ones.
Yes, and they probably shouldn't be there.
Should be nowhere near it.
I've had a few bad scrapes with doormen down through the years where I've been fighting in numerous occasions. You know, thank God I never came across you. No. But it's like, it was always based on that. It was always kind of me against them, and I always looked at it like that. But I have friends who just doormen, and they'd say, fucking hell to me. All I do is stand there and I said, boys, like, fuckers, I can't leave you in. Fucking stay at him. Look at you.
Yeah.
And they say, lad, come up to me the next night when you're sober.
And that's hard.
There'll be no hassle.
Don't bring him with you. Jaw all over the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? So
I do. Yeah. I wrote a book about it.
Which we had another doorman, and there recently, his name was Ray Powell. Ray was based in Waterford. Very big man now as well, like yourself. And
story as well.
yeah, it's a powerful story as well, John. And he spoke about the ego that was developed because of the door work. And he was saying, like, I went from being the fella that would talk to you at the door and have a chat and say, to being the fella that said, get the fuck out of here, I'll give you, you know, because, right, he started using prescribed meds and steroids and stuff, and it changed his personality, his beliefs.
Yeah.
And what happened then, his mental health started to deteriorate, you know, and that's when he went downhill and started kind of, you know what, John, if you could only believe this, how similar your story is to this man's, like, he went around, he tried to take his own life too, he drove his car into a tree, you know, when you're a male, okay, and you're portrayed by other people as in something else, but internally you don't want to be portrayed by that, but in order for you to keep getting the respect and the notice of people,
Put the mask on.
exactly.
I'd often cry. I'd often cry from Blanchardstown upset going in, but when I pull up the handbrake and take the key out, the head doorman mask had to go on.
Yeah.
25 doormen on a Saturday night, boom, 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 police are here. End of fighting with the police off duty that went sour and cunt bit me, and so yeah. So, and then the politics at the end, and I was sober, and then in my sobriety I became very honest, and I'm certainly not a fucking yes man. Yeah. And like I went, go and ask me, ram it.
Yeah.
And I got back with the wife where I was addicted to money as well. So I'm doing the door 27 years. So that's 3 nights on the door and 5 days working. Loved dough.
Yeah.
Loved dough. Yeah. And I loved blowing it.
Yeah. That's the other side of me.
And going cuckoo.
Yeah. That's the other side of me.
So because that's when I had me relapse a few years ago. So I was off the drink for about a year. Liverpool got to a final and I'm fucking undiagnosed ADHD.
100%.
And I'm wired to the moon in the airport, and I'm going to London for one night and have 1,000 sterling in my pocket. Yeah. And I'm sober.
Yeah.
And Jay says to me, what's the story? My mate Jay, he's just a gentleman. All right, I'm in the airport. What time's this flight? Jay, you sure? John, calm down. Got New Jersey on. Didn't tell him at 1,000 sterling. So we got up to the bar. He says, can I have a pint of Heineken, please, and a cappuccino? I says, Jay, do us a favour. What are you drinking? Pint of Heineken. Get us one for the crack. He says, we haven't had a drink in a year. He says, I'll have one. Here he was now, and he's, never encouraged me.
Yeah.
I says, just give us the one. So I drank the pint of Heineken in one go. Fast forward 16 hours later, I'm in fucking A&E in some hospital in London. Psychosis, Hoover, drink in me nude, pissing at the reception desk, eyes open, gone.
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And then getting out of hospital the next day, and that shook me. Like I was shook for a while after that. And he was like, John, do you remember you're on the karaoke and swinging the fucking thing? And oh Lord,
It's hard hearing that back.
oh yeah, words just rah.
I had many of them mornings, John.
Oh yeah,
Oh, mental.
yeah.
Oh, stop. I couldn't drink either. Oh,
we were-
mental.
We were up my gaff one day, John, me and him.
Great, fuck it.
And we're sitting on couches like this. No, he's on a 3-seater on his leather, right? And I'm sitting on the single couch, and two of us was twisted completely off of the end. There's more people there, no. Well, I'm sitting down there looking at Tommy, and Tommy had this very fucking mad, crazy stare when he was out of it. Like, he looking at you like that. And I said, fucking hell, what's all right? I said, yeah, all right. Next thing, 2 days later, I hear, tick, 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 tick. I said, what the fuck? I'm looking around, where the fuck? Next I look over, and I see water coming from the couch. And I said, what the fuck is going on? Get up off the chair. And I went over, and there was Tommy sitting on the couch, and a big fucking
Full of
wet
piss.
stain here.
Yeah.
Oh, remember this? His 2 eyes are wide open,
Yeah,
and he's looking at me, and we're having a conversation.
Gone.
And there's trickling. Well, Jesus Christ, I won't get into what I done anyway, but like, fucking the madness.
The madness. Eyes
Yeah,
open.
Oh, it's just, it's crazy to comprehend where we can be brought through drinking drugs. Like,
Well, on that session that we went over for the match, there's a fella that drank in the club, the Palace where I worked, called Dane O'Reilly, and he was a Dublin coach with the football. He's from out in Kilbarrack. I'm after forgetting the name. He's going to kill me. But anyway, he used to come in, and I didn't know that. I knew he had a bit of a gimp, but he has a prosthetic leg.
yeah.
So, as you noticed, I'm psychotic on punctuality. So early is late for me. I got here real early.
Yeah.
Hence, I was out in the airport early.
Yeah.
And we're meeting a fella called Chris Murphy, a Londoner in London. And I'm at the burying 8 points in the airport like a lunatic. And when I got off the tube to go to meet him, I was like a child. We've only 10 minutes to get here. I took off. Here was Jay. So to get into the pub, I'm at the ordering 3 points, meeting Chris, and Jay comes in. He says, "John, you're a cunt." He says, "Do you know he has a prosthetic leg? He can't run and all." What's today? Fuck him, you know. But and I said it to him when he walked in, you know. But I was like, got all hyper.
Yeah.
Can't get enough.
Yeah.
Half time, boom, back to lunch, back to Putney.
Isn't it mad?
Word.
Isn't it mad? We just can't. You can't when you're an alcoholic or a drug addict. Like,
Well, the 4 C's, we talk about the 4 C's in recovery, don't we?
yeah.
And the 4 C, and from the book, is craving.
Yeah.
I craved alcohol. There's a difference between like and I craved it. And once I got that into me, I craved cocaine. And then
they go hand in hand. Don't
yeah,
they,
and
John?
then compulsion, an irresistible urge or behave, and then my behaviour just went south. So I fucking definitely tick a few boxes on
and we've
them.
no comprehension then of our behaviour. And
Nothing.
the impulsiveness of our actions then is ridiculous. You could end up in a different country. You could end up in places that you were never in before.
Sell.
Anywhere like.
Selling a boiler suit. That happened us a few
Jesus
times.
Yeah, in the
Christ.
boiler suits.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
That happened
Yeah.
a few times, all right. Yeah.
And
not knowing why you're there
come
then.
here.
Not knowing why you're even inside.
Yeah.
Like going on the phone to my mother and she's saying, "What in the honour of God are you after doing?" I says, "I haven't a clue what they're on about."
Yeah.
She's like, "You're all over the front page of the paper."
Yeah.
Whoa. That's when it sinks in then.
Yeah.
You think they're trying to catch you in the section.
Tablets.
Tablets, yeah.
Everything.
And we're
The blackout.
Cocaine, tablets.
but just sitting there then.
vodka.
But just sitting there, being left in the cell then for the day, to figure out why you're even there, and you're asking them while you come to the hatch, what's after happening? And I remember being with him, and then my head is telling me, "Oh God, what do you have to do to Tommy? You have to kill your brother." I had to sit with that thought inside in the cell because he wasn't even in the same
I couldn't
place.
even know
as
it.
me. He was in a different fucking
Police station.
yeah. I was there like, what?
Man.
Just not knowing what you're after doing, and that's the scary part of alcoholism. And there's many a man and woman have woke up in that white suit inside in the cell, and went straight from that cell to a prison to face a life sentence.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. That is the fucking
So
reality.
scary it is,
And
yeah.
how blessed 3 of us are, 4 of us here sitting in this room, that none of us are in that circumstance today.
I know loads of fellas doing well through going up to visit, and I did a talk out in Mercury Engineering yesterday, and it talked about reputation, you know, and I think you have to agree with me. Mountjoy is full of people with reputations, and Glasnevin Cemetery is full of,
Powerful statement.
you know. And so my nephew's in the training unit before he went down to Shanton Abbey, and this lovely fella was over giving the tea on the visit on a Saturday, fresh, mannerly. John says he's 100%, and I don't like asking. It's none of my business. If he's mannerly to me, I'll be mannerly to him. And John said he's in doing life, you know, 19,
Yeah. Fuck it.
full of balls, reputation. I'll shoe him, gets caught, gets life. Goes on the landing, runs amok for 2 years because of the R word, the reputation. Yeah, fighting prisoners, fighting screws because he's mad, the reputation. And then the penny dropped when the door got banged behind them after 2 years.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
I've seen
Eventually.
it, it happens. And you know what? You speak about it very, very perfectly, if that's the right word. When fellas are going into life sentences, they go in there and they do run the muck for a few years.
Of course.
And then the penny drops. It's like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on? And then they're left with the reality of their circumstances, and they have to face the emotional aspect of it, and whatever psychological stuff is going on for them, and work has to start there then, you know. But it's a really, I don't know, Tommy, we're blessed, like.
Yeah.
And I say this every time I get an opportunity to say it, and it's great.
Like you said something there a while ago, John, about the cross. You blew me away when you said that, you know, because I can relate to that in a big way. Yeah. Like I remember sitting in an attic with a rope around my neck for 2 hours, like. You know, and when you says your family's here and you're over here, I was like, whoa, that's exactly. You couldn't explain it better, do you know what I mean? It was like, Sam, I really understand where is that, because no one. I don't know how I came down out of it. I'm blessed. You know, as Timmy's saying there, that we're blessed to be here, that we're not doing life. Blessed to be alive. Blessed to be alive, you know, and you just blew me away when the way you described that.
Yeah, but it's true, like, that's where you are. And I spoke to fellas that lost other friends through suicide, and because, John, why didn't he ring me and all? I said, because he wasn't there. You're there.
Yeah.
That's tough.
You know, because good friends, and like, you know, he rings me every day, and the whole lot, you know, Ronan Murphy, we won't mind me mention his name, and Dave Tracy, that took his own life, and he was like the void that was left. But when I told him that about, you know, that's where Dave was.
Yeah. Like our mother took her life, do you know what I mean? And when she done that, I was like, what the fuck? Why selfish, this and that? Till I realised where my mother was when I was sitting in that attic. You know, it all makes sense then. It's like, whoa.
And like you said it there about your own situation when that girl came up during the pub and asked you,
Louise.
like, our mother died on the 3rd of December. It was her birthday on the 2nd. The two of us were on the phone inside in the class offices that night inside in the prison, talking to my mother, wishing her happy birthday. She was telling us how well she was doing. She was flying. She seen
that
the
was at
counsellor.
about 10 to 7. She
And
was
next
dead at
morning-
8 o'clock that night, wasn't it?
You know what I mean? You just don't know, like.
No, you don't.
It's fuck. I remember waking up the next morning, knock at the door, fucking priest at the door, telling us that our mother's after taking her own life. Being not even left over for the funeral. Then two of us just brought up to see her in the coffin and brought back up to the jail. That was it. You know, family home after 35 years, boarded up. Everything that was there belonged to us. We got a few photographs and a few bits and pieces belonged to my mother, for family. We had nothing. We literally didn't have fuck all growing up. And my mother had a little less, but what we did have, we had a really strong kind of bond that we didn't never even know until we got into recovery. Do you know? Because we'd have to been through so fucking much. Do you know? But just bringing it back to what we do and don't know about people who unfortunately take their own lives is what's going on. And I think hopefully in some time in the near future there'll be some form of technique or way or app or something that will just catch people on their way to taking their own life, something that they can press on a phone, something they can just press. And I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and they were on about maybe creating something around for people with suicide, and he was saying we're creating this app or something that if someone's thinking about suicide, they can go onto it. And I said this. I said, that's great. I said, what about if each individual person, right, got a voice recording from all the close people in their lives, and it was stored together on this app, and if someone was really feeling low in a really dark place, that they could go onto that app just before and just give that voicemail a listen to. I know it sounds a little bit out there, but we're in such a case within society that there's so many people taking their own lives at the moment.
Well, the numbers are staggering.
It's unbelievable. You know the figures because you work very closely
I'm very
with
close,
suicide awareness
and
mental health. You're an advocate.
Yeah. And like, when I say the countrywide are staggering, which you can't disagree with, but where I live in Blanchardstown are staggering, and RTE in March with Claire Bourne live. I fucking talk about red rag to a bull, and she had an interview on. I listened to the current affairs. I'm lucky enough to have it on in the van, and one person, a man, I'm not dismissing the trauma from the family, I'm not dismissing that, but one person died in March. In the first 3 months of the year, one person had died of measles. One. Talking about vaccines. Right? And at the very same time where I'm from, I'm dealing with the HSE at that time. 6 people had taken, I'm going to say like kind of, you're a little bit of a smith, 6 people took their own lives in 10 days.
10 days.
Fuck.
And then over a 3-month period, it was over 20. And like, I'm going to repeat that.
3-month period, there was 20 people.
Oh yeah, I was sure it was at all the meetings. So I'll say that again. 6 people in Blanchardstown took their own lives. One was under the care of James Colony Hospital and walked down and got on the N3 bridge and jumped off the bridge, like a certain gentleman did under the care of the hospital 3 weeks ago as well. So 6 people from where I live in 10 days. And Claire Bourne is on RTE talking about that one death. And it was a tragedy.
Yeah, of course.
But where I live, and then I see the investment in road speed and in road deaths and big posters and proper order.
Yeah.
And I know there's primary care centres coming up in Blanchardstown. I'm going to be quite clear about this. It's still not enough. End of story. Like, it's not enough. The revolving door in A&E, and that's like, it's.
How do you see an answer or a solution coming to fruition from looking at something so obvious? People are dying because they're not able to cope with what's going on from, and like, there has to be a solution. There's a solution to everything.
Well,
why is there not something that can be implemented for something like this?
Well, I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'm going to talk about what I can control. Yeah, about controlling the controllables, because I think I haven't got the answer to that question. Improvements, obviously, but I talk about the controllables that I can control, and that's about being kind to people. That's very, very important. Because you just don't know what someone's going through. So instead of like pointing the finger, well, I control the controllables, I teach me kids about being respectful to people on the street, or when my father died of Alzheimer's, I had them up as like an education of elderly people having a really serious illness, not to be like, oh, that man or woman. And it was an educational piece of bringing them up to the nursing home, to educate them that, And I'd often hear, my son that works in a bar and this fella, and I'd say, you just don't know what that fella's at the mean going through, Have the little bit of humility. It goes a long way, and he's the best kid in the world, But so I try to just control the controllables and be kind to people
and make a difference in that way.
Oh yeah, that's it. Instead of like pointing the finger and waiting for something, well, what can I do?
And I think that's how the change. That's how we can make massive changes, not by waiting on our government to be able to make changes. By making the changes ourselves, by just being kind and asking people. And there is a lot more kind of advertising and publicity around people just asking people, are they okay? And just asking them if there's something going on from them, are they struggling with anything? Is everything in their life okay? Are they thinking of any kind of intrusive thoughts around maybe taking their own life, stuff like that? Some some people have the ability to do things like that. Some of us, a lot of us are struggling, John. And that's the point of it. A lot of people are just struggling today. We live in a very fast-paced world today.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2024, the world is so quick. People are rushing eating their dinner. They're rushing to get back out the door. It's like
The rat race.
And I tell you what came. I was in the van the other day, and I was driving to town, and I was like rushing to get somewhere again. And I was saying, I'm actually in a rush to get into a fucking 6-foot box and to be put into a hole in the floor. Because I wasn't giving myself any time to actually enjoy life and be still with life. Do you know what I mean? And I think most of society is the exact same way at the moment.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? So I'm with a person at the moment that won't mind me saying her name, Linda Phillips, yeah? Runs Fast and Fitness and psychotherapist. So she asked me a question the other day. I'm going to ask you the very same. What are you doing for your recovery?
What do I do for my recovery? I meditate daily. I eat healthy at the moment. I wasn't all the time. I go to meetings when I can. You know, because I love going to meetings for the social aspect. You know, I try to do a moral inventory of my day as best I can on a daily basis, and I try to spend as much time with my wife and my children as I can at the moment. That's what I'm doing for me, not so much me, but for the people around me. But is there more I could do for me in my own recovery, for me to mind me? Yes. I could be doing a lot more to show myself that you're worth it.
Yeah.
I could, but I'm not, because I'm trying to distribute my time to other people who are in my life, because I think they need it more than me giving it to me.
But you're more important than anybody.
And if I don't put myself like that, but we have a fair then around that if we choose ourselves over other people, that we'll be, and that's the people pleaser you mentioned early on, we'll come across as in a fucking very vain, as someone that don't give a fuck about other people, or an old, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying though?
1,000,000%
Do you know
get
what I
it.
mean? We'll come across, and it's like, and that's just the culture that we have in this country. If we start minding ourselves, we're looked upon as, oh, fucking look at that snobby fucker there, huh? Do you know? He loves himself. Do you know what I mean? But then you bend over backwards for everybody else, but you do nothing for yourself.
Well, I do nothing for my recovery, you know, so
Yeah.
I'm glad we're on record to say that. I just have invested in, let's say, other people over the last 4 or 5 years and events, etc., and my cup is empty. So,
and that's a great point you mentioned there, Tommy. In this, in early recovery, what do? We take off fucking fast running to get so much in, but
Like
also then you have to kind of pull it back a bit.
Like in early recovery, meetings. You want recovery so bad, you want everything. But as you get a couple of years round, that slows down as well. Do you know what I mean? Life gets busy. Do you know? Timmy said it there. Do you know, a while ago, I think. Like when you come into recovery, you're like a baby, a child. You don't know what's going on because you're only used to drink, drugs, and madness. Do you know? And but at the start, plenty of meetings. Like I used to be at 9 meetings a week when I started recovery. Now I just get one. But I'm always around people in recovery.
good.
Do you know what I mean?
That's who we have to be with.
Oh, you have to be.
Same values and
You know,
passions.
and I'll pass no one on. No one on. All my friends, I'd pass none of them. If I saw them, I'd stop. I'd give them a lift, anything. But I know when enough is enough, and I can walk away. And do you know what I mean? It's key, like.
Yeah.
Well, I have to invest in my marriage now,
Key,
which I'm doing.
That's the fucking most important one.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I have to do. Like, I'm on a stronger antidepressant, feeling the benefit of that, but invest in the marriage, which I told you is my energy source. I'm like a fucking unstoppable
Fellas like us
train.
are lost, John, without a good woman in our lives, and I mean that truly.
No.
Like, we're lost. We're not
Absolutely lost.
We fucking fall apart very quickly. If, like, my wife is the glue that keeps me together.
Yeah.
Like, and
I say that.
I'm very open about it. Do you know, she is the one thing that keeps me together, keeps our family together, but also gives me a good purpose in life. You know, she's a powerful woman. You know, she's very independent. She does out and she works her own life. She goes out and washes people's fucking cars and carpets and stuff. She's her own little business. You know, she never asked me for a fucking penny ever. You know, and she does her own thing, very independent. And I'm blessed. I am truly blessed.
And supported me from day one with everything.
Yeah.
But now it's time to, you know, pull the handbrake up, do less, and you know, invest.
Enjoy your life. Go out more with her for meals. And I go to yoga with my wife. I go to Pilates with my wife. I go spinning with my wife. Maybe 2-3 times a week. And it's a great way for the two of us to be together. And we're kind of having a bit of crack as well at the same time. I sit down every morning where I have a cup of tea. This morning's the first morning I haven't known in a while because we ran the road early. And we have a cup of tea before we go to the door for work. And that's how we live. I wasn't like that before. I gave my wife no time. And you know what? She said to me one day I need more out of you. I'm on my own all the time. All I have is my fucking dog. And she says, I'm stuck here, and says, I need more. And I says, you know what? You'll get it. You'll get it. And I've made that attempt. And I not that I've made the attempt, I've done that. I've took it into action, and I've done it in my life. You know, and I just need to be consistent. Consistency. I have a problem with consistency, John. You know, and I just need to be consistent. You know.
Well, I have consistency with everybody else. I don't have a problem with consistency, but it's consistency in my marriage. That I want to be consistent and will be consistent.
Well, if I were you, when I walk out this door today, I would make one fucking promise to myself, and that promise would be that focus directly straight on what's important in my life, and that would be the marriage, and making that as fucking strong. Because marriage, we go through a lot in relationships. Us when we're in addiction, and the women with us, they stay with us and they're powerful people. And we just need to hold on to them because they're with us because they love us, because they stayed with us through the fucking worst of the worst. Yeah, and there's not many women who stay with fucking mad fuckers like when they're caught up in addiction, like you know. And that's a special woman, and they're the ones that you don't leave go by for nothing. And I've learned that.
Couldn't agree with you more.
My wife is everything to me. But is there anything else, John, you'd like to talk about before we wrap it up? Because
we wrap it up now in a minute. Let me see. Good place, starting work for the HSE next week. I told you. Me new business, Get Up Adventures. Yep.
Best of luck, John.
Yeah, imagine me. I got help, but I got an opportunity to speak up when I got an opportunity, and I put a business plan in with help. I have to keep on saying with help. I get help, and it worked. And I have a business that's going to be bringing 15 people in recovery. Some are in residential in Kilmine, Ashley House, Parlickstown House, Tolga River Project. They're after being dressed by the HSE, and I'm a mountain leader for 8 weeks, 7 weeks in the Dublin Mountains, and week 8 I'm bringing them up Lugnaquilla.
Fucking powerful.
Right. Me, yeah.
That's
put the evaluation.
Like,
you know?
That's powerful change.
Yeah.
And the beauty of walking on a mountain, but it's not better than like the breeze hitting your face.
No.
And being able to appreciate beauty in the landscape there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Well,
We've
week
done
3
a lot of walks ourselves, me and Timmy, mountains and
good
walks. You can't beat it.
I'm going to do 1 or 2 more plugs, and then I have Paul Hatton who's I think he's 40 years in Kilmine. He's going to join me. I have a psychotherapist who helped me massively with this business plan, Carla Byrne, Hike Psych Ireland. And then Fingal have approached me to, I've been doing men's events, and they're running 12 events, 1 men's hike a month for the whole month of next year, and I'm leading that with another 2 fellas.
Powerful, right?
Darren Scanlon in recovery, and Marcus Cowser as a fully qualified psychotherapist. So the last date is going to be November the 17th, which is International Men's Day. International Men's Day falls on the 19th, but we're going to go on the Sunday previous. If you want to hook me up on social media, we had 300 men last year. And we're going to go, you know. So there's power in numbers.
How can they get to you on social media?
Okay, John Boland is my name,
Yeah.
and I'm on social media as John Boland. You'll see something
Is
involved
that
with Dublin.
Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook, yeah.
John Boland.
John Boland, and you'll see at Dublin. Ain't got to do with the Dubs, it's me. And 6 in a row. And
You have to get that in there.
absolutely, always. I met a Kerry fella on the Alps last week, Tomas, yeah. I heard that accent, where's that from? I said, you fucking know quite well where it's from. I said, hear you a mile away. That's right, I says. When you're 6 in a row, you can just be that little bit louder than the Kerry man. He was great, old fella. So, few things coming up. Loads of doors opening up for me because the door of the past is closed.
Yeah.
It's locked, and I fucked the key away.
No one's not opened another one.
I'm not going back there.
No.
I can't. I'm terrified of a relapse of all this happiness. Me wife, me marriage, me kids, me friends, working with people in recovery. I have a purpose, and my purpose is to help people.
Yeah.
I have an energy. I love people, and I met Trisha downstairs, the girl that we were told to shush and all, laughing and all, telling you about the fuck off, shush, but like the crack we had, just this is me. I don't wear a mask anymore. I haven't got a different voice. It's just fucking me.
Powerful, boy.
Unreal,
And be you. Because you're actually going to help a lot of people, John, what you're doing, and show them how to be themselves as well.
Yeah, do my best.
Thank you, boy.
Thank you,
Thanks a million,
Tim.
John, boy, for joining us.
Thanks, John.
Thanks to
Unreal.
everybody for listening. I'm Timmy from Long Way Back Podcast. Tony, Tommy, and John, thanks a million. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye, lads.
Thank you.